What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome back to the Silver and Black Attack. It has been a long 7 months, but we are finally back. Or, well, I'm finally back. We're going to change things up a little bit over the next, few months. We got a lot of exciting news to talk about. Last year was anything but exciting. Probably the worst year in recent memory, probably since the Art Shell return in 2006. This was probably the worst season since then. But we know how that ended with Jamarcus Russell, number one overall in '07. But for only the second time in franchise history, the Raiders have the number one overall pick. Well, guys, it seems like it is finally happening. The Las Vegas Raiders are almost destined at this point to hire Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak. When you look at the Raiders, they got the number one overall pick this year, right? We got Fernando Mendoza hopefully coming up, who just won the national championship. I don't know if the Raiders are completely ready, to draft a rookie quarterback and, support him with a good enough team. But if you go out and get an offensive minded head coach like Klint Kubiak, you're already putting Fernando in a better situation than he would have been with the aging Pete Carroll, with somebody like Josh McDaniels, who doesn't really have much left to prove. But look at the Patriots. Hey, Patriots are back in the AFC Championship game. Look at Klint Kubiak. The offensive mindset. He's got creative play action. Sam Darnold has excelled in it. Sam Darnold being an average quarterback, even though he's a USC legend and we love him. But a balanced run pass attack. They had two amazing running backs in Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, who's unfortunately out for the rest of the season. But look at the quarterback development. Yes, Sam Darnold excelled in Minnesota last year, but obviously the Rams and Vikings played in the playoffs, and Sam Darnold, I think he threw three interceptions or something in that game where, I just don't think that Sam Darnold is that amazing of a quarterback. You got to look at the all-around system. You got JSN, who's the number one receiver in the league. Okay, maybe number two behind Puka. Kenneth Walker, the third. Zach Charbonnet is a two-headed running back. You got a great offensive line. You got a solid tight end in Jake Bobo, and that team is excelling. Look at how they've gotten. I mean, their defense is their identity, but the offense just finds a way to be so efficient and win. And if you look at Kubiak's history, he's worked with a variety of different quarterbacks over the years. He worked with Brock Purdy, he worked with Derek Carr, and now going back to Sam Darnold, he's worked with Sam Darnold as well. He's excelled with Sam Darnold this year in 2025 with the Seattle Seahawks. Multiple teams have interviewed him, including the Raiders, and it just doesn't seem like many of those teams have the team around them, and obviously you're going to say, okay, the Raiders don't really have a team around them. They got Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, and $120 million to play within free agency. They're going to rebuild the offensive line like the car insurance days. If you know, you know. And the Raiders are going to get a number one receiver, whether that be Brandon Ayuk, whether that be someone via trade. I'm hoping we trade for T. Higgins. He could be a great number one guy in Vegas. But at 38 years old, he's younger than most head coaching candidates. We just had the oldest head coach in NFL history, Pete Carroll, 75 years old. I mean, look at it. They won the first game. And then after that, I mean, that's going to be in the next video. We're going to get into what happened last season because it was so atrocious. We didn't even want to create content for the last season. I mean, the last season was just so difficult, overall with Geno Smith and Pete Carroll. But Clint Kubiak is not just another coordinator. Yes, he might not be the flamboyant team building guy with a loud voice, but he's coached across the NFL for over decades. Minnesota, Denver, New Orleans, Seattle, San Francisco. He's run top offenses, developed quarterbacks, and recently turned the Seahawks into one of the most explosive units in the league. And if you think about it, a rookie quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, is going to excel in a system that treats the quarterback right. This system is built for the quarterback. You got to spend money on the offensive line, of course. Teams are running over to talk to Klint Kubiak, but he's only focused on winning the Super Bowl with Seattle. I don't think they're going to beat the Rams this Sunday, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. If you look at all the other teams in the NFL that have needed a head coach, Baltimore got rid of John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh signs a $20 million a year deal with the Giants literally a week later. They wined and dined him in New York. Giants GM gets the deal done. That's it. Buffalo moves on from Sean McDermott, which is interesting because they have Josh Allen, who's been in the meetings and has opened up kind of the search, of the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills is one. But another interesting job that just got filled yesterday, Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers, just signed a deal to be the next head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, successing John Harbaugh. And if you look at that, a defensive head coach, okay, the Ravens' defensive identity is there. Lamar Jackson was injured this year. It's clear on that. Then there's Kevin Stefanski. If you look at him, Browns let him go. 2 weeks later, he's the Falcons head coach. Okay, Atlanta automatically got better. So there's a few more jobs left now where I think that, there's a few candidates available. I've heard Davis Webb rumblings. I think he's the quarterback's coach for the Broncos. And then also Jesse Minter was big. Obviously, he's off the table now. I was hearing that a lot. Another interesting point is the offensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams, Mike LaFleur. Obviously, younger brother of Green Bay Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. Of course, Sean McVay has called the plays, for a number of years over in LA. However, who's the guy developing the plays behind the scenes? That is Mike LaFleur. Raiders are very high on him, and I would expect him to get an interview or two once the Rams season comes to an end, hopefully this Sunday, but I think they're going to win, like I said. But these are two offensive coordinators that you need to pair, with Fernando Mendoza. There is a must for the Raiders to pair an offensive coordinator with the number one overall pick, Fernando Mendoza. Otherwise, if you put a defensive guy in there, they're going to lack on focusing on the offense, and then we're going to have a repeat of what happened this year. We're not going to be able to score points, one. We're not going to be able to move the ball, two. And the offensive line is going to crumble, three. So with all those things, Fernando Mendoza is going to be put into a bad situation. But you get an offensive head coach, you change the format of everything, and you reinvent the wheel is basically how you go about this. You go back, you build the O-line, you get a number one receiver, you get Brock Bowers healthy, you get Ashton Genty an offensive line as much as Fernando Mendoza needs an offensive line. Genty needs it too because Genty is with the worst offensive line in football last year, still rushed for over 800 yards on the season and had a number of receiving touchdowns as well. So if you look at it, the Raiders are in a good position here, and the Silver and Black Attack is back, bringing you all the news, all the reports, all the analysis through the offseason. I'm going to draw out everything for you guys. So hit that subscribe button. We're back. A little bit of a twist now with the Silver and Black Attack coming back with only half the duo, but you guys will see us soon again.